And that's also, he killed the reports at the end of the day.
He did kill the reports,
you accuse somebody of corruption.
Yes.
I mean, if we are...
That is not to say they were corrupt. It was an allegation.
That's what I'm saying.
But...
If we're doing a report, I mean, we're asked to investigate something. Say this team is asked to investigate something. And they come up with a finding. And then at the end of the day, you guys begin to say, well, or you cast suspicions on the integrity of members of the team. Does that also say that the report... Does that also mean that the report that they have produced shouldn't even be looked into?
No, it's not possible. There's already a compromise. It's exactly like what is happening here. Do you know what the judge does in the court when the judge is accused of compromising? The first thing he does is he withdraws from that case. Do you understand? Nobody is saying that the judge has been compromised. Do you understand? The Lumelu committee was novel, it was laudable, but he had accused them of corruption. And even went beyond, yes, and even went beyond that. A couple of them were arrested and were tried by the EFCC.
I mean, can you just agree with me on something?
So it therefore meant that they did not have the moral rights to continue on the line that they were going on. But if you notice something, Senator Mark, in his wisdom, made Lawan, the chairman of that committee, a member of the ANPP.
For what purpose?
Well, I'm not in Senator Mark's mind. But that clearly tells you that he brought the opposition just to clearly show you that there were not going to be any.
Yeah, isn't that a political strategy? Because I mean,
it's a political strategy.
We have the majority. You come back to the floor of the House.
No, but when you come back, listen.
And we put it
when you come back to the floor of the House, there's some certain things that you cannot look at what we are talking about. How can you say today that 300 million naira is being paid, 3.6 billion is being paid every year? And Nigerians now know. Those that didn't know now know that 3.6 billion is being paid every year for doing nothing. And all the money that was used in founding the company, like the company is worth for 80 billion naira, nothing has been recovered. I mean, there's an extent to which you can
anyway,
sweep some things under the carpet. That's exactly what I think.
We still have to lift the carpet and see the amount of depth we can find there.
Yes.
Senator Lawan being a member of the ANPP, some also are worried and word stiff that, hey, almost all the names mentioned at that particular probe panel, they're members of the ruling party, and as we speak,
powerful members too.
No, Baba Femi Ojodu is not a member of the ruling party; he's a member of the ACN.
Jimoh Ibrahim is a member of the ruling party.
Okay, you're talking about those that were mentioned. Okay, Jimoh Ibrahim, yes, is a member of the PDP.
We weren't the ones who mentioned their names.
Okay,
you saw them on national television, and of course, the former president. So, in the principle of fair hearing, shouldn't they be given that kind of opportunity
I actually wonder why.
Stop talking about all of this.
I actually wonder why Jimoh Ibrahim and the former president were not invited to come to speak, because very serious accusations were made against them, especially Jimoh Ibrahim. Global Fleet today is also the owner of Virgin Nigeria. I mean, the same Nigerian Airways that is Kamatos, that is a sad cry. When we have Ghana Airways, we have Cameroon Airlines, we have Kenya Airways. Nigeria doesn't have a national carrier. And so it was, if I were in his shoes, I would even have gone myself, because now I've become an interested party. And Nikon supposedly is a flagship of the insurance corporations we have in Nigeria. And for people to have made such devastating allegations of him collecting 46 billion naira for a company he bought 1 billion naira, it's something he needs to trash out. It's not something you can just leave lying low. But then again, what we are saying is that we have to carry out physical enumeration. When I mean physical enumeration, go on-site investigation. It's not enough like what BP was doing, sitting down in the comfort of your rooms and carried out the evaluation of these companies. No, we have to go see what these companies were actually, what value they have. But it is pretty obvious that if 80% of them are not doing well, and today the only company we can say is doing well is LMA.
Well, good enough, Mr. Okolugbo.
It's quite sad.
You know, you're an expert in properties.
Yes.
Now, when we talk about valuers, now, how do they go about all of this? Don't they go on site? If you talk about site,
that's exactly what I'm saying.
You want to place some kind of cost on any kind of property.
Yes.
Do you sit in the comfort of your office?
No, you can't. You can't. That's exactly what I'm saying. Because first of all, you have to go as a property person. I have to go physically. Yesterday I had a meeting and incidentally, the lady was asking me I should tell her what the value of the property is, and I said I just can't tell you the value of the property. I need to even get 1 or 2 people from my office. But I can give you an idea. If the rents go for 5 million, for example, it therefore means in 20 years it's 100 million. That is the first. You know, on the normal scale, 100 million. But we have to do what we call for sale value before we come to the actual real value of the property. So you have to go to do a physical examination.
And it's not like it's all assets that actually
no,
become more valuable.
No, at all. At all. Yes,
go by.
Because there are some certain assets that won't grow. And those assets become, we're talking about machinery, so machinery that are not movable. Like your OB van, you might have like 3 OB vans there, and only one is functional. So how can you actually use the other 2 OB vans and use them as a form of asset?
In all of this, there are those who are quite skeptical. They say, at the end of the day, I mean, they could beat their chest about it, that the party may not necessarily be able to muster the will.
I am telling you that this particular probe, those of us that are even members of the party will cry out. And when I mean will cry out, will exactly cry out. There's no point trying to be sentimental here. There's no point trying to say you're protecting the interests of your party at this point in time. We're talking about Nigeria here. We're talking about a very sorry and sad situation.
Well, will you be protecting the interests of your party if you strip this kind of thing?
No, you just can't. Look, there are people in that party, there are people in that same party in the Senate that wouldn't take this. I can assure you, no matter what, there are certain stages you get to, you just can't start thinking of the interest of your party. Or because this man is in my party, then he has to be a criminal. For what? Why? Yeah, why should he not be investigated? Because he's a member of my party, we should let go of this? No, it's not right, because it's our collective wealth and it has been mismanaged.
So how come we haven't heard, because before now we would have heard some party members suggest surreptitiously or overtly or covertly or somehow to the former president saying, look, listen, I think it's just do a letter, do a memo, clear your name.
No, but the funny thing is that he hasn't come up. I know he will eventually come up. We've been waiting for him to come up. These are very strong allegations made by his former staffs. They are not only staffs, they are direct appointees of his administration. They're very strong allegations, they are weighty allegations, and it is expected of him as a statesman to respond. Not only to respond, but to try and clear his name on these weighty allegations.
What about the former
But don't forget again that the former Vice President Atiku, yes, Atiku also has a lot to answer because he was the chairman of the NCPC. But don't also forget that when Yar'Adua came on board, he revised the sale of the Warri and the Kaduna petrochemical plants. Now we can see that with benefit of hindsight, Yar'Adua must have seen more than people thought. Because then they thought it was political winch hunt. He was trying to reverse what the former president has done. But with what is happening in a Leme petrochemical plant, which today has more than 100% installed capacity, Indorama is a multinational. Why can't you have Indorama run Warri and Kaduna refineries when we have seen how successful they are? 10% of our non-oil exports is coming from a Leme petrochemical plant. Okay, well, even Rivers has earned about 5 billion in the last 4 years for investing in a Leme petrochemical plant. Well, so revising that particular privatization was a very wise decision that Yar'Adua took.